Tina, how are we all? I'm just going to wait for a few people to jump on. Let me see where I am in here. So I've only tried to do this a few times. Got a really bright light on me. I'm going to turn it off. So let's see if anyone's jumping on live. I want to see where I am in the group because I don't see the comments on here. So please say hello if you jump on. So today we're going to be talking about the father wound and why it has everything to do with your cash flow. Now this was like a revelation for me. So I just want to, just going to hang around. I just want to say thank you everyone. I haven't added anyone into the group that has not said that they wanted to join the live. So if you, I'm not that kind of person that does that. I don't add people to groups without their permission. This wasn't the plan of the live. I was actually going to do it on Zoom or on my normal Facebook. But then because it didn't work the other day, I was like, oh, I'll just put it in a Facebook group because I like doing Facebook lives like this. Zoom is great, but if I've got 40 people on there, it can be a bit overwhelming, so to speak, if I've got loads of kind of space is a bit energy draining. Does that make sense? I hope so. And what I wanted, so I just thought I'd do this group. I don't know what the purpose of this group is yet, but it just got birthed from me yesterday. Like, I was going to call it the father wound and just have it open for a few days, but I think I might keep it going. But you're quite welcome to leave if you don't want to stay. But yes, I did put a message in the event saying that I would be adding people to the group that said that they were coming along. So, as I said, it's entirely up to you guys. I do hope you guys get some nuggets of wisdom today and a few ahas out of me sharing my journey, and I'll give you a few practical tips on how to move forward and how to change the dynamics of your masculine and feminine energies in your life, which are predominantly linked to your father and mother wounds. So we'll just jump straight in there, shall we? So your father wound is when I talk about father wound, I'm talking about your masculine wound, really, your divine masculine wound, which is pretty set in concrete from the day that you are born, in your DNA, from all the men that have gone before you and all the women that have gone before you, all your ancestors, and then your mother and father and all that kind of stuff. So this is our first introduction to the male and female energies in our realities, is our mother and father. So before I go on, am I going to do this now? Okay, so I'm hearing a yes. So before I go on and go into a bit more depth about that, I want you guys to ask yourself a few questions. One of them is, what do you think of men? So a lot of people might come up with they're bastards, they're arseholes. Some people might be like, oh, they're divine beings, protective, or whatever it is for you. Just bring that all up. I used to think that all men were arseholes, but then when I went on this journey of, I don't know, it's been 7-8 years now since I went on this kind of personal development and spiritual journey, I've kind of consciously had a different outlook, but subconsciously there was something else going on, which I will be explaining about in a minute. So so just write down what you think of men. You can put it in the comments if you like, please do. I'd like to see what you're thinking, how you think and feel about men. And then I want you to have a look about what you think and feel about money. Do you see a connection between the two? And I'll explain why in a minute. So the way I used to think and feel about money is that it was hard to come by. Hi, Lana. Oh, look, these little green things pop up. I've just said, I don't know whether you want to join, but I've just asked, what do you think and feel about men? We're just going into, I've just started, hon. There's no one on live, I don't think. And then also, what do you think and feel about money? So I used to think like money was hard to come by. It was elusive. it was, yeah, you know, like it didn't grow on trees. I had to work hard for it. Like it was just a pain in my ass. That's what I used to think money was. Hi, Amber. Hello, anyone joining live? If you're joining live, please say hello in the comments. Hi, hello. Hello. Did you hear me about writing down what you think of men and what you think and feel about money? We're just starting out, so it's fine. You can come back and do it again, but I'd love it for you guys to put it in the comments so I can see where we're at with it. So first of all, write down what you feel about men, think and feel about men. Secondly, what you think and feel about money. And I'll explain all afterwards. This is the link. I'm kind of working backwards here. But this is the link that completely changed my energy and which allowed me to bring in over £17,000 last month. You don't have to share, but it's cool if you do. So, do you see a relationship between the two? Yeah? And like I said before, I used to think money was hard to come by, and I used to think men were all bastards and all this, that and the other, subconsciously and consciously, until I changed my conscious kind of feelings about men or thoughts about men, which I've always had men around me. I've always been one of the boys, so to speak. But I used to think they were pretty much doggish. But anyway, I'm going to tell you about the correlation between the two. So money and the masculine, like your masculine energy, whatever you're thinking and feeling about those in the negative sense is what you're thinking and feeling about your own masculine energy. Because we have two sets of energy within us. We have our feminine and our masculine. Our masculine runs down our right side and our feminine runs down our left. Comes in from the right and goes down the left. The masculine through the left and goes down the right. So we have this duality of energy within us. So whatever you're thinking and feeling about men and money is what you feel about your own masculine. Yeah, so mine was hard to come by. It's a dog. It's elusive. Money, it was never around, and this will probably blow your brain. I'll go into it a bit more in how I had this huge realization and everything changed. Money and men, money have enough by would like the luxuries. Men used to be authority figures. Now see. Let me just have a look on here, guys. I can't see properly on my phone. Just doing it on my laptop, darling, so I can see properly because I can't see them properly on my phone. Sorry, love. I'm just waiting for my... Oh, there we go. Oh. Okay, so money, have enough but would like the luxuries. Men used to be authority figures. Now I see them as the same as me. Yep. I've worked a lot on money beliefs, so it's hard to really say. I believe it's an energy source, an exchange of value, and a call to be an abundance in my being. Yeah, that's amazing, hun. That's, yeah. I mean, that's the way I thought and felt about money. What I thought I should be thinking and feeling about men and money, yeah? Going on this journey, you work on all these beliefs, but energetically it wasn't the case. I had to consciously work on my energy to bring them into balance, because energetically I was telling something completely different, right? Money and men and masculine is all the same energy. They all have the same purpose. So think of, like you said, if you have money, what does it allow you to do? What is the purpose? What does money provide you in your life? Yeah. And it's the same. So a lot of people say security, freedom, pleasure. So all the same things that your masculine energy wants to provide to your feminine. It's all the same. That is the relationship. It's the same freaking kind of relationship. It's the same purpose, if you will. Money and men have the same purpose. Yeah, for your feminine energy. And they get off on it. Money, have enough would be like the luxuries. Provider of our desires. Yes, provider of our desires. Yes, exactly. And that's what the masculine is. So, as I said before, I was like you, and I thought, oh yeah, you know, I like men and blah blah blah, and yeah, makes me feel abundant. It's a source of energy, and you know, it's just energy. But I didn't really understand I thought I understood, but then I went back into, like, I've done so much work in my father wound, and I unpacked it and everything. But it wasn't until I saw the hi anyone joining live, hi Leanne. Wasn't until I saw the relationship and what I was doing energetically that it really started to change. I mean, 2 years ago, I was a manifesting powerhouse. Like, everything I wanted. I brought in £85,000 in cash in my business and through other streams. Like, ridiculous. And then the new energy started coming in on December 2016, and then bam, start of year one. So we're in a 9-year cycle, the start of year one in January of 2017, and everything went to shit. Like, everything. And I just could not. I taught people in the law of attraction. Yeah, I was doing really well. And then it just went all to shit. Like, everything dried up. I was just like, what the fuck is going on here? Anyway, I had a year of nightmares. Up and down, up and down. All my belief system was shot to pieces. My credit rating got squashed. I had debtors calling me. I had to lend money off my little sister. I was near nervous breakdown. I was on suicide watch. Everything just went to crap. And I was like, everything that I was trying, that I used to do the year before, was not working. So I didn't understand what was going on. But it wasn't until recently that I started working on my feminine last year. So I knew my energies were out of whack. And I started working on my feminine last year because I knew my energies were out of whack, and I really wanted to bring in the feminine energy. So I started doing a lot of work in that, and looking at the archetypes and all this kind of stuff, like Caroline Myss, or Miss, is it Myass? Caroline Myss, she does a lot of stuff around archetypes, your psychological archetypes and your soul archetypes as well, which is fascinating stuff. So anyway, I started doing a lot of work on this, and I kept trying to. I realised recently I'd signed up for a program with Lorna Johnson. I know some of you may know her, and she's like a leader in divine feminine and masculine consciousness. So I was like, I don't want to go back to the father wound because I've always done father. I've done a lot. I've got no emotional attachment to it, and blah, 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 blah. But here's the thing. My biological father ran away. So I never met him. And then my 2 stepdads after that abused me. And then that made me a beacon for abuse. So all the men into my life up until the age of 19 abused me, or allowed them to abuse me. It wasn't until 19, when I fought back from an attempted rape, that I switched it. And then all I attracted was narcissists, yeah? All I attracted was narcissists, or men that had loved me so much, but I'd abuse them. I'd cheat on them. I'd cheat on them. I wouldn't respect them in any way. So I was just really mean to the men that was showing me loads of love, because the masculine just wants to show you love, yeah? So when I realised what had happened, so what I did was I looked and I said, how did my stepdad, so it can be, the father wound can be anything. It can be your own father, your grandfather, your brothers, any predominant male in your childhood will set the precedent on how you view your masculine energy, yeah? So what I found from the men that had abused me, and the father that had abandoned me, I was so scared, fucking terrified of being hurt or of being abandoned, which comes down to the core wounds, of being abandoned, that I was pushing my masculine away. And how did that show up? The men that actually loved me, like on their hands and knees, adored me, I used to abuse them. I used to cheat on them. I had no respect for them whatsoever. Why? Because I couldn't handle that affection. I could not handle that affection. And the same thing with money. Whenever I used to get large sums of money, like I was in a huge career for 19 years, and I was very, very successful, and I was very sought after manager in the pub industry game in England. And whenever I was with one of these narcissists, they never had money, so I just give them all my money all the time. I always had a good job. I always well paid. I just give them all my money. All my money I'd give them. And then when I was with these guys that had money, when I was with these guys who had money, or if I was skint for any reason, which I used to do a lot because I used to spend it a lot, because money is the same as masculine. I just used to spend it because I didn't know what to do with it, because I couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle the energy of it because the masculine scared the fucking life out of me. I just used to spend it all the time. And when these men showed me so much love and they were trying to, you know, show me, shower me with gifts and whatever, I had total disregard for it. All because I was absolutely petrified of the masculine energy. Now, once I realised that, I was like, holy shit. Holy shit. I have not been allowing the masculine to provide for me since day dot because of what had happened to me as a child. Even though I'm not emotionally charged by this anymore, I was constantly living in my wallowing or my hyper feminine. I actually bypassed my masculine. If I went into like a bully mask, I'd go straight into the hyper feminine, like to the emasculated masculine, if that makes sense. So the wimpy masculine, I call it, where so that's the men that showed up in my life that were loving me no matter what, and allowed me to cheat on them. They were the emasculated ones. Yeah. And that was my energy, because I was living in my kind of hyper feminine energy then, and not a balanced energy. Does that make sense to you guys? I hope so. Or have I gone to, if you've got any questions, I'll be easier to answer with questions. Hi Claire. Hi anyone joining live. I can't see on here. So what happened is once I had this realization, I was like, oh my God, this is what's going on with my energy, because how was this showing up in my life? Money would come to me and then it would go quickly out. Like I'd have debts, like I was running up debts. So as soon as any money come into my business, I was having to pay off these debts. So I could never hold on to money. And then there was another, like working in pubs, I always had money. Always had money going through my hands. I have counted millions and millions and millions of pounds physically gone through my hands. I've sat there in casinos. I worked in a casino for like a year or so and done a £450,000 count. £90,000 and £50 notes went through my freaking hands, but I never owned it. It's like it was. I was scared of it. Basically, I was scared of owning money. I was scared of holding on to it because it was masculine, and the masculine hurt me or it abandons me. And that is what I was doing. I was pushing it away and causing mayhem. So the way that, can anyone relate to this, that what I'm saying here? Just give me some thumbs up or hearts or whatever. That would be great. I wasn't allowing, yes, water, darling. I wasn't allowing the masculine to provide for me. Anytime it provided, I'd freak out. I'd hide away or I'd push it away. And that is how I then once I had that realization, so I'd suggest to you guys to go back to the beginning and have a look. Maybe look at your father, like look around the areas, because this is something I do with my clients, and this is why a lot of them get quick results. Oh, thank you, Amber. Oh, don't be on the verge of tears. I don't want you to cry. But just have a look. You don't have to unpack this. You don't have to go back and go into that wound. It's just to come back to that realization of actually how the masculine in your life made you perceive men back then. Because that will be the way your energy is now. That would be the way your dynamic duo inside, your feminine and masculine, how they're acting with each other now. Does that make sense? Hi, Alpa. Does that make sense to you guys? So just go back and have a look at your father wound. And as I said, it might not be your father. It could be your granddad. It could be your brothers or your uncles. It could be anyone who was predominant in your childhood that had an effect on this. Me, unfortunately, it was every man up until the age of 19, and then afterwards. But I always thought I was in control afterwards. That's the clever things with narcissists, isn't it? So, and I wasn't very nice to myself, to be honest with you. I was horrible to myself. So what happened is then I had to start this conversation between my masculine and feminine. And because, as I said before, that my feminine doesn't like to receive, and even now, I'm going into that now, darling, Claire. So I had to start a conversation between my masculine and feminine. So one day I got this huge 10k sale, and the next day I reached out to someone. So you have to take massive action. That's one thing. You have to balance the masculine, but I'll go back to that. I reached out to someone. It was just someone that I once trained with. She trained the year before me as a coach, and she's got quite a successful business. So I just said to her, look, would you help me out? I'd love to coach someone of your caliber. She turned around and started coaching me, and turned around and told me that I needed coaching. Well, that was it. So in my mind, so this is the conversation that was going on. In my mind, my wounded, kind of wallowing feminine was like going to my masculine. I told you we shouldn't have done this. This was a stupid idea. I'll do it myself from this time. I don't need you. We're not doing it. She wanted to shut down, come off Facebook, go and message the woman that she just got the 10k sale off the day before, and tell her that it wasn't going to happen, and that I was going to pull out of this sale, and that she didn't want to work with her because she completely freaked out. And then what happened was I was like, right, I'm going to hold space for this for a little while. I'm just going to step back for a bit and just hold space for this little wobble she's having. And then the next day I had a meditation, and I had a vision of a man standing there with his arm out, holding his arm out to this woman that was on the floor in a huddle. And she was so scared scared of him, and had so much sorrow in her eyes. I'm going to cry because it was such a huge moment for me, that he lifted her up and just held him in his arms, and she was like huddled in his chest like that. And this is the visual I had of my masculine and feminine, and all he said to her is, you are safe, I'm not going anywhere. That's all he said to her. So that's interesting you say that, Lisa. You used to be scared of men, because that's probably why you'll be scared of money, because it's the same energy. Yeah, because I was terrified of the masculine energy, so I'd push it away. Terrified of it. So the ways to balance this out: one, the masculine is all about action. It's all about provision. And the feminine needs constant, if she's wounded, really wounded, she needs constant reassurance. So it's a balancing act, and it does take time. It's a conscious thing that you have to do every day. So one of the big things that I started doing is that I look at myself in the mirror, and I put my hand on my chest where my heart is, my heart center, and my other hand on the heart center of my reflection. And then I look myself in the eyes, because this is your masculine and feminine having a conversation. I look myself in the eyes and I say, I love you, Tina. You are safe. I'm going nowhere. Because finally I'm allowing my masculine to provide and protect me. And doing that is completely changed. And whenever I feel that wobble coming on, and God, she's wobbled a lot, because I've been going off on an accelerated rate. I would have been in a puddle if this had happened to me like a few months ago. I'd have been sick. All kinds of stuff would have happened to me. But because now that I've had that realization, I know that I'm going to be okay, and that I'm going to be protected. And let me tell you something, I didn't know what I was missing until I felt it. Like I just felt this safety, like I just felt held. For the first time in my life, I felt held, and I felt seen by myself. That was the power of balancing my masculine and feminine energies. And then when I first started doing the I love you, Tina, and it's really important that if you do this, like I've done millions of affirmations to myself in the mirror, but this one really, because it was the intention of speaking to myself from my masculine and feminine, speaking to each other, it was so powerful and so profound that it moved me to tears, and I could actually feel like it right in my chest as my heart chakra was open. And yeah, so I would suggest to anyone that's going to do this, because that's a very feminine thing to do, is holding that space and saying it to yourself and nurturing yourself and giving yourself self-love. That's a very feminine to do. But what happens is that yeah, so do that. That's a very good way to balance the feminine and bring these energies up together. To balance the masculine, and masculine is all about action. So he wants you to get specific on your goals and what you want and what you want him to do. So so for instance, if you've got a business and you want you've got a program, be specific on the amount of people that you want in that program, because he likes it. Be specific on the amount of people and how much money you want to bring in, and the price. Don't dither on it, yeah? Have your boundaries in place, because the feminine will set the boundaries and the masculine will honour and protect them, will make sure they're in place. And what I was doing, which I didn't realise, is I was setting boundaries from a hyper feminine, which is like the uber bitch, and they were piss weak, because I was just jumping from hyper feminine to wallowing wounded feminine all the time. So we're piss weak. So the masculine has nothing to come into. It's just all over the place, and it freaks the masculine out, and then he disappears. But it's a whole other subject. I'm not going into that. It's all about having a really firm boundaries in place as well, having difficult conversations, like speaking your truth and knowing that you are safe when you speak your truth, because everything that you need is within you. Does that make sense to you guys? I don't know if I can see. Does that make sense? There's also, like, if you haven't unpacked the stuff from your childhood, like if you haven't sent forgiveness and, you know, whatever it is that you need to do, you can release all that kind of stuff. But it's just about one really big thing that I took out of this was intimacy and being intimate with myself and my desires. So firstly, because that's one thing that the feminine and the masculine are, they're intimate with each other, and to balance them, there has to be a continuous conversation between you both. So basically, you're walking around talking to yourself all the time. But get really intimate with yourself, like sit there, and I'm not talking about pleasuring yourself in that sense, all that's great as well, but I'm talking about getting really intimate with your desires and just coming from that space of curiosity, and sitting there and just say, what is intimacy with me? What is the masculine to me? What is the feminine to me? What does my divine feminine want? And she's creative, she likes pleasure, she likes play, and she also likes her space. You know, she's like the I've written some stuff down here. She's empathic and sensual. She likes all that kind of feminine flow, yoga and all that kind of stuff. And the masculine likes commitment and courage and determination and goals, and he likes to provide. You know, the biggest gift that you can give to your masculine is to receive. And here's another thing. Even though I made like huge sales in my business last month, my feminine was freaking out again energetically, and I could not get into Stripe to get my money. PayPal shut down, the bank cancelled my card. Like, I could not get my hands on my money because energetically I was still freaking out. So I had to keep working on myself and telling myself it's safe for me to receive, and playing with my feminine energy and allowing her time and space. So one thing that I have done is put like rock solid boundaries in my life. So I'm off Facebook now most weekends, and I've put rock solid days when I speak to clients. I've made plans with myself and my business. Like I used to do it like fly off the seat of my fly by the seat of my pants kind of gal, you know. But now I actually made a plan, like a 3-month plan for my business, like what I'm going to do, with a bit of room for creation there, you know. But it's like, you know, nice area for the feminine to create and stuff, and put more systems and stuff in my business. The masculine loves it, and as long as you're specific on what you want, the masculine will go and get it for you. But it's all to do, but your masculine energy has everything to do with the way that you perceived men when you were a child, and the way that they made you feel and think about the masculine energies in your life. Does that make sense to you guys? Is there any questions? I can't see anything, so I don't know. Are there any questions? Lisa? That's it. And things are just starting to come real easy for me now. Well, I say easy, they're not coming that easy. Like, all of that kind of cash stuff's sorted out now, so that it all kind of opens up. But it was that, and Mercury retrograde did not help me at all. So Mercury retro really highlights the fact that I do not like to receive. But yeah, so, you know, I'm just, every day is like, it feels like my masculine is reassuring my feminine that it's okay to receive. And whatever work you need to do in a child, if you need to do EFT, if there's beliefs there, whatever stuff, forgiveness, the Ho'oponopono, whatever stuff it is you need to do to release that kind of childhood trauma, do so. Does that make sense to you guys? I don't know what's going on with this thing. Is this, it's not happening. Facebook's gone. You guys still see me? So yes, so at the beginning I asked you to write down a few things and see the correlation. So I highly recommend that you guys, sorry, I'm just looking at my computer screen. You guys have a look and see with your father. And while we're on the subject, the mother wound as well is a huge one, because the mother wound is all about allowing pleasure and receiving. And I had shame and anger around that bad boy. Like shame, a lot of shame and anger. I was like, wow, I thought I got rid of this. And now I realise, like, I had shame and anger. No wonder I was beating myself up. I felt so ashamed, like, abusing myself for so long. Because I didn't respect the feminine at all. And that was all through... It's really funny because as I sit here and I talk to you, I'm realising my nan was a very hyper kind of feminine, very hard-nosed, very straight, said it like it was. She'd fight men, kind of hyper feminine, pretty much a bully, but she's very intuitive. And my mum was the total opposite. She was the wounded. She used to get beaten up by her boyfriends and was an alcoholic. So, yeah. So that's how that played out in my life. That's why energetically, even though I've done millions and millions of work with me, I still haven't been able to, I still wasn't energetically available to receive. Does that make sense to you guys? Yeah. Anyway, I'd love to know how you guys get on. I don't know what's going on with my internet, but it seems to be going all over the shop. But, yeah, if you guys are working on this for yourselves, please give me a shout and let me know how you're getting on. Post it in the group or whatever it is that you want to do. But yeah, that's why your father wound is completely and totally and utterly connected to your cash flow right now. And seriously, if you work on this stuff and you release it and you start to balance it, it can literally change your life. It can really, really change like that. I mean, my clients have gone on to, I've had one client that's just brought in, I think she's on 24k now in like 2 weeks. My other client, we took us 3 months to get her to a 5k, and then within 6 days of this month she got a 10k day. And I've got another client that we set a goal for 5k and she smashed out 7 in 7 days. Like, it's just crazy what you can do. And it's not about, if you haven't worked on this kind of stuff before, yeah, there's some release work and stuff that you can do. But if you have, it's just finding the relationship between them all. I'll put the questions up that you need to ask yourself for those that have joined late after I jump off this live. But, yeah. It's been lovely chatting to you. And if you have any questions, please post them in the group. All right, my darlings, I shall see you later. Bye.